A colon can completely change the meaning of a sentence. For example, with proper planning, Jane could do both at the same time. After which her friend had a semicolon. Did the friend get a semi? Let's eat, kids. Let's eat, kids. Jane could eat her friend's pie and colon at the same time. The same could be said about ate her friends. Jane and her friends just have to move that little line up and to the left a little. With fava beans and a chianti, I would be upset if Jane ate my sandwich, thanks. I'll remember this joke when I get my next comoscopy. Jamie ate grandma. Jamie ate grandma. I pooped. Wow. I just don't know. Go to jail. But PLS take my upvote along to keep you company. A math teacher welcomed a new French exchange student into her class and then started teaching a lesson on fractions. English is impossible to master. Nice, a new and funny joke. We can call this one good old 277 4/8. How anyone learns English as a second language is beyond comprehension. Can someone explain the joke please? On a tangent, who invented fractions? Henry VIII. Took me a while and I'm an engineer. Would be funnier if 3/4 wasn't included as an example, since in reality, an exception for 3/4 would have been explained right then and there, leading to a discussion about 1/2. Basically, my own mind skipped ahead through this hypothetical conversation and ruined the punchline for me. I can't be alone on this. I always thought the French were bad at math. I asked one French kid, how much is 1/1? He gave this answer that sounded like duh. I had a brief relationship with a girl who worked at a camera factory. I didn't picture it ending that way. It didn't click. It was just a flash. Maybe you overexposed yourself? It was over in a flash. Darn, that kind of relationship would have been picture perfect. Shrug. Did you at least get in her aperture? Maybe it was your 50mm lens. Was her name Iris? Did she leave you with red eyes? Your zoom lens was too small. Focus on yourself now. Stop being negative. It was on a roll, but it didn't turn out. Too many snap decisions. It just didn't develop. Guess we lost focus. Snap and it was over. Did she meet you in the dark room? It was a shot in the dark. It was over in a flash. It was the hemorrhoids, wasn't it? Probably because you glossed over her and treated her like a mat. Did you two have a Kodak moment? She's not seeing you anymore? It was over in a flash. Is this sub still active? Do you have flying cars in the future? I think I just blinded myself. At 7:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Toronto, December 31st. I said, WTF, it's still 2023. Think for a few seconds and go, ooh, what's the future? Who wins all the NFL games on December 31st? Knowing this information will help me have a very happy new year. How's 2024 looking so far? Have they built cities on the moon yet? Tonight I'm going to party like it's 1999. Y2K is coming. Your computer is going to crash. I'm going to steal this joke in 13 hours and 15 minutes. Are Brett and Jermaine touring yet? Lolny. Another Kiwi, let's go. Ugh. Time travelers bragging again. Happy 123,123. Smiley face. Smiley face. How long did you wait to make this joke? It's against the law to use your smartphone while driving. But using a giant tablet on the dashboard for most of your car's functions is perfectly fine. And most people driving a vehicle struggle with lights. Didn't the German government tell Tesla that they had to make a physical control for the windshield wipers? Apparently the only way to control them was through the touch screen. But Germany has a rule that certain safety controls must be physical. Wipers fit the category of safety controls. It really isn't. The tech bros are just abusing a loophole. Give us back the switches and knobs. Your futuristic aesthetic should not come before safety. Most laws against using your cell phone while driving just say you can hold it in your hand. If it's mounted, it's fine, no different than the vehicle info screen. Literally every car I ever sat in displays a message like don't operate the system while the vehicle is moving, so no, it's not okay. Most people's first word of the year is happy. I'm going to make mine something else, now that you brought it up. Most people's last word of the year is one. Thanks for a decent shower thought. Didn't think that would be my last Reddit comment of the year. It's been fuck for the last 10 or so years for me. Due to delays in broadcasting, many people's first word is 7. I'm going to moan loudly first thing this new year. Hope should be a first word for more people in the new year. Wishing everyone a happier and more hopeful 2023. And it all goes downhill from there. Most people don't speak English. Nah. Some of us say rabbit. I will now not say anything after midnight so I can wait as long as possible for my first word of the year. Mine were white rabbits. Mine was either oh yes 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 or God. Can't be sure of which. Not really. It's something Mandarin or Spanish. I like the usual. So it begins. This is where the fun begins. People over 40, what's one thing you regret the most in your younger years? Deferring too readily to the judgment of others. I had the naive belief that other people had my best interest at heart. Speak up for yourself. Defend your own decisions. No one is out there waiting to make you a star, caring too much about what others thought of me. Saving money is a big one. The younger you are, simple things like $1 a day, or 10, 20 etc. in an account that you don't withdraw from. Spending too much time worrying about love and not enough time concentrating on happiness. Not enjoying it more. Didn't realize how fast my younger years would pass. Stretching and maintaining muscle mass. When I had kids I stopped both and it took a decade to get that back. Treat your body well. Something happens around 38 and the better shape you are in the better your 40s and after will feel. Till it took until 2015 for Disney to ban smoking from appearing in any of their movies. But how will I know who the villain is? I remember when I got the Alice in Wonderland 2010 Tim Burton DVD and the rating said PG-13, specifically smoking caterpillar. Yeah, but Disney swung so far the other way, that I had to raise the rating level of the kids' profile on Disney just so they could watch 101. Fixed the tense of swung and clarified the first sentence. And not a moment too soon. Moana came out in 2016 and you just know Maui and Tamatoa the shiny crab were positively blazed out of their motherfucking skulls. Till P.T. Barnum showed off a 161-year-old woman. After her death in 1836, an autopsy was performed and it concluded that her body was not 80 years old, aligning more closely with persons in their 70s than those 100 years. There's a sucker born every minute, and later we ended up naming the Barnum effect after him. The tendency to accept as true types of information such as character assessments or horoscopes, even when the information is so vague as to be worthless. Just say she's twice as old and charge a nickel to look at her. I'm starting to think this Barnum fellow didn't always tell the truth. The circus lied about an attraction? Who would have thought? What's really gross about it is that her actual autopsy was an attraction that he charged to view. That poor woman was still his property in death. I'm shocked. Shocked I say. Well, I'm not really shocked. Till a bear was the first living being to survive a supersonic ejection. Poor thing must have been confused as fuck. How do you convince the bear to get on the plane? That bear definitely wasn't Yogi, as he's smarter than the average bear. Dad does a bear shit in the knot this one time at Mach 2. My grandfather Jack Baldridge was a test pilot for the B-58. He and his crew were killed ejecting from the aircraft in a storm. I just keep asking myself, but why a bear? Did they run out of test animals or just stop at bear because it was a had they failed with bear? Was horse next and then thought was the plan to find the animal who could survive? Then train them up to be a fighter pilot they know could safely eject? I would have gone with dolphin there. Lol. I'm picturing the wind picking up and blowing the parachute off course. Jesus Christ, a bear just parachuted onto my lawn. What the hell is happening? Till about pine mouth, a potential consequence from eating pine nuts that gives you a metallic taste in your mouth, sometimes for weeks. Had it once and it was awful. Had no idea what was going on for about a week also, so thought something was seriously wrong until I googled metallic taste and realized I had just ate pine nuts. Grew up eating piñón in New Mexico and later worked at a restaurant where we made our own pesto, so we had bulk shelled pine nuts. I used to sneak handfuls every once in a while for a quick nostalgic boost. The restaurant was on the coast of Maine. One day, I had one too many handfuls and it made everything liquid taste like an IPA for a few days. People who start taking medications such as lithium, allopurinol, and some antibiotics often report the same. There are some medical conditions that also do this. I am curious if there are common roots for the effect. Till about Shiny Uzai, a convenience store hanging on a cliff in Hunan. That's been nicknamed most inconvenient convenience store in China, or the most convenient convenience store, depending on how you look at it. They have to climb there and back for every bathroom break too, per the article. Damn. Yeah, no, fuck that. Okay, but how do they supply it? Starbucks is looking at opening 3 branches on that cliffside in 2024. Number 1 selling item: clean underwear. I would go out on a climb and say that it's not only the most inconvenient convenience store in China but also the whole world. Oh, a visitor, it's been quite some time. Well, have a look at my wares. This place is nicknamed the most inconvenient convenience store, but it's not named the inconvenience store like this one I came across recently. Quickie Mart headquarters. Actually, I'd think it was the most convenient in that circumstance. The very first Quickie Mart. Still, hundreds of mummified seals have been found as far as 41 miles inland in Antarctica. One tested specimen had been sitting out in the open for 1,500 years. Researchers theorize that 1-2 seals annually get lost during whiteout events and accidentally travel inland, where they eventually die. When penguins do this, they actually mean it. Even if you caught him and brought him back to the colony, the penguin would immediately head back for the mountains. One day it will look like the evolution of man picture but with seals. Traveling 41 miles is a challenge for a seal. How about a tidal wave? Great, here come the rich weirdos looking for their mummy paint. Oof. Not only to die but to exist forever to tell others that you screwed up where 99 of your cohorts succeeded. Still that not everyone hears inside themselves. The condition of loudly hearing your own breathing, voice, and bodily functions is called eustachian tube dysfunction. Yeah, this is obvious. If half of you all heard the stuff coming out of your mouth you wouldn't speak as often. Does anyone have their ears constantly popping and feel clogged? Pull up. Y'all can't hear yourself breathing? Or your heart pumping? A bit related, but apparently some of you have no inner voice, which sounds insane ironically. I have this and it's annoying. It literally creates anxiety in me by just existing. Till that some people can apparently hear inside themselves. I blew my nose and put a tiny hole in my eardrum a few months back. Hurt pretty bad for a few days, but the sound of my own breathing and the inner ear fluid sloshing around was brutal until it all healed up. I have a tiny voice in my head. Is it my conscious or is it schizophrenia? Till that the con artist, Frank Abagnale, from Catch Me If You Can, lied about most of the story. His book retelling his crimes was the only successful con he ever pulled. He's allegedly an expert who worked with the authorities and no one ever said actually we don't know him. That's nuts. After even further investigation it turns out Alan C. Logan, the author of the book discounting all of Frank Abagnale Jr.'s escapades, was actually Abagnale to begin with. He just conned the book discounting his cons. When asked why he would further confuse everyone he gave a chopping motion with both hands towards his crotch while mumbling "suck it" under his breath. I mean, look at the guy. He ain't charming anyone. Irony that people are butthurt about the truth of a story about a con man. And yet, he'll be remembered. While at least I will languish in obscurity as a rando. Some lessons can't be taught. Till that you shouldn't use soap to wash your asshole as they will reduce the natural oils that protect the anus. Protect the anus from whom? Don't get me started on how coddled the modern anus is. You can if you then re-oil your ass afterwards. It's very important to get right in there just to be sure. Said the poop-smelling guy. Please disregard this Reddit. Please continue to wash your asshole with soap. Use aqueous cream or a soap-free cleanser instead if you feel you need to wash your asshole. Text aqueous cream to unsubscribe from Asshole Facts. I soap the shit out of my asshole. This report sponsored by Big Bidet. Damn it, I can't do anything right. Red Fox had it right, you gotta wash your ass. Still op hates the taste of soap. Despite what the internet strangers say, I will continue to practice good hygiene. Thanks. I wash myself with a rag on a stick. You guys aren't topping up your anus oil every month? Unsubscribe from Anus Facts. What are the professions that most people think is hard but actually isn't? A lot of office jobs are hard to get, but easy to do. Many times IT support is incredibly chill. There were days I did nothing but play around on my phone because I didn't have any tickets. I say many times because some companies will assign you a bunch of busy work to keep you occupied. Ergonomics. My job basically consists of saying that blue on blue is shit if you want your user to know what they're doing. Sanitation garbage man is not the dirty, backbreaking job that it used to be. With very few usually seasonal exceptions. You'd also be surprised at the pay. What do poor countries do better than rich countries? Mend, reuse and repair things. Street food. Amazing parties on very low budgets. All they need is a decent speaker, cheap alcohol and big pot of whatever they can whip up with a little bit of money. They are more entrepreneurial. People like me do the safe path of university and blah blah blah. Immigrants are much more likely to start a business. Usually a micro business. Or they have city hustles where they trade phones or something like that. Family and personal connections. Prioritize need over comfort. Community. Having more babies. Recycling. Poor people will use the chair for 50 years. And will find 20 uses for an empty plastic bottle. Enjoy the little things. What is the biggest problem with modern dating? People being so used to instant gratification. There's always thousands more possibilities waiting on Tinder, so people are too quick to swipe people away unless they are perfect. Delusional expectations. I have absolutely no idea how to meet women anymore. Out of college. Work remotely. Don't really like the bar scene. Not good looking enough for the apps. Help. The people expect perfection rather than learn to make it work. There are no more really cool hangout places anymore. Most of it's done online. You don't really have that meetup place like you could back in the day. Everything's also so expensive now too. What was the post-orgasm clarity that hit the hardest in your life? What happened afterwards? I'm not proud, but I masturbated by putting 2 sausages in a condom. I'm a girl. After that, I just rethought my whole life. I can't believe I just came in this chick, I'm tripping. Now I'm about to be a dad. SMH. Came inside of her. The post-nut clarity came as I was buying the Plan B. PNC hit the hardest the last time I had sex with my ex. We had been together for a year and she might have been the most manipulative woman I've ever been with. She played mind games, lied constantly and lashed out at me for the most minor things. After I nutted I realized at that point I was only in it because she was drop dead gorgeous and wanted to fuck all the time. The relationship ended a week or so later. When's the worst time to have a heart attack? That's terrible. Timing. 2 words: chest clench? Heart guard? Heartbeat? Chest pounding? Chest stabbing? Heart attack. It's a heart attack. Anyone know CPR? Oof. That punchline hit me right in the feels. Laughs and cries in Tommy Cooper. Smiley face. I'm still trying to figure out what you're trying to say here. A bit weird to see an actually funny joke on Reddit tbh. In a forest trip alone. You're pretty much dead. I left my heart in San Francisco. Good one, Dimitri. Just after finding out you've won the lottery. When you're lecturing medical students, you could just talk though. Then they wouldn't think it was charades. XD comedy video the AHA put out with this exact scenario. Scuba diving. I think, when driving a school bus loaded with kids, down a step grade is worse than all of these. Which cancelled celebrity were you previously a fan of? Kevin Spacey. Don't know if this counts exactly, but Chris Benoit. Dude was one of my childhood heroes. That was an intense couple of days. Cosby, for his stand-up comedy rather than shows he's done. This one goes way past cancelled, but I was a big fan of Lost Prophets. Now I just feel shitty when one of their songs pops in my head. James Franco. Mostly for his approach to art and education. But goddamn, the man was extended a lifeline so many times and sank his own ship. Joss Whedon. Still love his shows, and at least he was just an asshole. But he was an asshole. With Elton John being 76, now when you hear him saying "I'm still standing," I like this a little bit funny. That means he's waiting for someone to bring him what friends are for. A rocking chair so he can tell his aide to rock it. Man, this joke hits close to home. My grandpa used to tell similar ones. Brings back memories and makes me smile. You did this joke better than I ever did. No. But did hear him once say I'll always be younger than Rod Stewart. I did one of those surveys on FB a few months after having my left leg amputated. The quiz revealed which song best represented you. Yep, "I'm Still Standing" was my song. Hilarious. Well, that's already the actual lyrics. I'm still standing, chair, chair, chair. Older guys at urinals sing this. I know this comment isn't in a pro state yet. Now John by the car is a friend of mine. He gets me my chair for free.